Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the bearish Bitcoin breakout that we talked about happening in yesterday's video. Because if you go back and you watch yesterday's video, we talked about how there was likely going to be a breakout of this consolidation pattern that Bitcoin found itself in, and I gave it about a 55 to 60% chance that that breakout would indeed be bearish. And in fact, we have seen a bearish breakout over the last 24 hours. About 12 hours after I posted that video, Bitcoin broke to the downside. So in today's video, I'm going to be analyzing this breakout and talking about the levels of support and resistance that are hanging out around this level, and talking about where Bitcoin will be moving over the next couple of days from now. Furthermore, we're also going to be discussing a continuation of a story you guys have probably been following for a while, the QuadrigaCX story. Guys, this story just keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder. Let me just read this first sentence and we'll get on with the rest of the intro. Cryptocurrency exchange QuadrigaCX probably stored a significant quantity of Ethereum in other crypto exchanges. That is an interesting thing to hear out of an exchange that had hundreds of millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency, them storing crypto on other exchanges. So we're going to be doing some technical analysis in today's video, and we're going to be reading through this very strange report, which is actually a very good thing. If you were one of the people that had money on QuadrigaCX, you might be able to get some of it back. So in today's video, I think we have a good one lined up. We're going to be doing a lot. If you guys enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smashing the notification bell, guys. It does help out the channel if you do it, and I would be appreciative if you did it. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the technical analysis. Bitcoin is currently trading around $3,700 and some change here on Coinbase, a little bit higher on Bitfinex, but of course we always expect that. As we talked about in yesterday's video, I laid out my case for why I believed it was a little bit more bearish than bullish. The case for Bitcoin breaking bullish or bearish was a little bit more bearish than bullish. I laid that out. I talked about the strength of the bulls and the bears. I talked about how the momentum had shifted from bullishness to bearishness and how it was time for the bears to have their day. I talked about how there was a lot of resistance up here around $4,000. I talked about the shorts chart, I believed. I talked about the MACD and the RSIs and many different oscillators down here. I laid out a bunch of different technical indicators that might be showing that we were going to break bearish, and we did in fact break bearish. And in today's video, like I said, we're going to be discussing what led us to breaking bearish, and we're also going to be talking about levels of support, because of course we all want to know how far Bitcoin is going to fall. And that's the first thing that we're going to dive into here, is how far Bitcoin fell, because it didn't actually fall all that much. And this is important. The extent of a breakout is very important. Bitcoin only fell by about $100 or so. Only about 2.5%, and as you can see over the last couple of hours, Bitcoin is making this kind of little short-term cup, if you will. It's kind of starting to move back up. We've got a little bit more green coming in here, and that is very, very important. I don't want to overlook that, because even though I think Bitcoin was slightly more bearish than bullish, Bitcoin did have a decent case for the bulls. If we go back out here to the daily chart, for example, and several of the other charts, the stochastic RSI down here is on the floor. RSI is at a relatively low level. On the 4-hourly stochastic RSI is on the floor. On the hourly, I believe it is also on the floor and starting to curve back up. So even though Bitcoin broke bearish here, there's a decent chance that Bitcoin's about to turn that around and start moving to the upside or trade sideways over the next couple of days. With all that said, I do want to talk about the levels of support here, and then we'll come back to trying to make predictions about where Bitcoin is going to go. But let's go ahead and talk about why Bitcoin only fell this much. Because normally Bitcoin will make a movement in accordance with this technical analysis and will move to levels of support or resistance in accordance with that technical analysis. So why did Bitcoin only fall $100 here and not much further? Well, there's a lot of different things that we can look at. One of the first things that strikes me is that this is a rather flat level of support right here. If we go ahead and draw, and then we can see that Bitcoin has had a lot of support and resistance around this region. We have some resistance right here. We had some support right here when Bitcoin was rallying. We saw some support back over here. Not very strong, but if you extrapolate this out, we're going to see even more levels of support and resistance back over here. Bitcoin had resistance over here and support over here. That resistance being right there, support being right there. And if you draw that even further back, there are even more reasons to expect that $3,680 might be a somewhat moderate level of support. Now, this isn't by any means the strongest level of support in the world, but it does definitely have some significance. Another thing that I want to bring up is actually, well, it's on any time frame because we're going to be talking about Fibonacci. If you guys look at Fibonacci and you draw it backwards, excuse me, I drew it the wrong way. If you draw it from the bottom to the top, then you can actually see how far retraced Bitcoin is. And as we can see from the beginning of our rally back over here around $3,333 all the way to the top around $4,188, Bitcoin has retraced back almost exactly 61.8%. Guys, there's that number again. If you know anything about Fibonacci numbers and you know anything about phi, if you're in the mathematical world, or in this case the inverse of phi, and if you know anything about the Fibonacci tool, you'll know that the 61.8% level is the most important level, and its inverse around 50% would be the 38.2% level. This is a very, very important level that you should always look at with your Fibonacci retracement levels, as it's one of the easiest Fibonacci numbers to calculate, and it's also one of the ones that most people do their trading by. And Bitcoin came down here and got support very close to it. As we can see, Bitcoin, the Fibonacci level that we're looking at was down here around $3,660 right here, and Bitcoin pulled back to around $3,680. That's definitely close enough for me to call that support for Bitcoin, and that does definitely seem to prove that in this case, Bitcoin is actually respecting the Fibonacci. And if Bitcoin is respecting the Fibonacci, which it certainly seems like it is, if Bitcoin does break this, I would expect another level of support to be down here at around $3,520 right here on our 72.8% Fibonacci level right down here. Excuse me, our 78.6 Fibonacci level. I misspoke there. I would expect that if Bitcoin breaks bearish, then we're going to see another level of support right down there. Now, with all that said, is Bitcoin going to break bearish? Well, that is up to interpretation. Let's go ahead and zoom out. I want to show you guys several different levels of support that Bitcoin is currently sitting on. Out here on the daily chart, one of the most striking ones that I do want to draw your attention to would be the 100 daily moving average. As we can see, if we get rid of this level of support, actually, we'll leave it there for a second. As we can see, this level of support that we drew a second ago and the 100 daily moving average are lining up almost perfectly to give us a nice little level of support down here around $3,680 and some change. So Bitcoin is not sitting on one level of support or two levels of support, that being the level of support that we drew in the MACD, or excuse me, not the MACD, the Fibonacci level. We're also sitting on that moving average. If you go back in time, that moving average shows to be very, very important for Bitcoin. If we go back over here and we look, every time Bitcoin would go into a rally back over here in about Q2 and Q3 of 2018, Bitcoin would go into a rally, get above the 100 daily moving average, and then fall back below it. And after we got above the 100 daily moving average, we knew the rally was almost over. And once we fell back below it, that was the beginning of the downtrend. We could see this happen right here. This gray line right here is the 100 daily moving average, remember. Every time we saw Bitcoin get above that moving average, we were about to see a retracement. And it seems that the same thing is happening right here. But notice in that trend, Bitcoin would fall below the 100 daily moving average. But that doesn't necessarily seem like it's going to happen this time. Now, it's very possible that Bitcoin holds support at $3,700 or so and continues to trade sideways or move to the upside. That's very possible. But according to the previous trend of Bitcoin breaking above the 100 daily moving average, it should be falling back below it pretty soon here to finish off this bullish rally and start moving more bearish down here towards levels of support that we discussed in yesterday's video. You can watch that video in the top right if you would like. So with all that said, what's going to happen to Bitcoin here? Well, there's actually one more level of support I want to show you. It's on the 4-hourly chart, and that would be the 200 moving average on the 4-hourly. So Bitcoin actually has about 4 levels of support right here. We have this flat level of support that we discussed a second ago with the 100 daily moving average, with the Fibonacci level, and with the 200 daily with the 200 moving average on the 4-hourly right here. Well, even though I'm very happy that Bitcoin has all of this support below it, I would like to remind you that much of this support Bitcoin had when it was sitting up here in this consolidation pattern. Bitcoin was sitting above several levels of support as well up here in this consolidation pattern. And I also would like to remind you that even though Bitcoin has fallen about $100, that's not much of a breakout considering how long this consolidation pattern is here. A lot of times breakouts will be somewhat proportional to the duration and the size of their consolidation patterns. And this is just kind of lopsided. We see this tiny little breakout right here to this very long consolidation pattern. So if Bitcoin doesn't break even more bearish here, that might just mean that the bulls are a bit stronger than we'd given them the credit for. But I would still be ever so slightly more bearish on Bitcoin than bullish, guys. I'd still give it probably about a 55% chance that Bitcoin is going to break even lower and start heading towards lower price targets down there around that Fibonacci level that we talked about, down here around $3,480, and this uptrend of support that has been so critical for Bitcoin here in the year of 2018, and in the year of 2018 and 19, excuse me. This level of support, that uptrend of support, I think is going to be absolutely crucial, and I do think that we're going to see another touch on it in the next 2 weeks or so. So it would not surprise me at all if Bitcoin were to break bearish here or trade sideways, perhaps entering a new consolidation pattern here over the next couple of days. I would also like to draw your attention to the shorts and the longs charts and the fact that nothing really all that interesting has happened on them. I'm going to be doing a dedicated video on the shorts and the longs chart and how you can read into those and why they're so important for technical analysis and why I talk about them a lot in a future video. So if you're looking forward to that video and if you're interested in what I have to say on that topic, hit that subscribe button. That video will probably be going out this coming week. Anyway, with all of that out of the way, I would like you guys to tell me what you think about the technical analysis in the comment section down below. We're about to move on to the news, but let's get a conversation going. Let's get another poll going in the top right like I did in yesterday's video. I was very happy about that poll. Do you think Bitcoin is going to break below $3,680, or do you think Bitcoin is going to trade sideways, or do you think Bitcoin is going to break bullish and bounce off of this and start moving to the upside? Let me know in the poll in the top right. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on into this news story because, guys, this is a strange news story. If you guys haven't been following the QuadrigaCX story, I will go ahead and give you a bit of a brief rundown. QuadrigaCX was a Canadian exchange that was run by one dude on his laptop, and when he died, they lost the keys to $145 million worth of digital assets, and as you can probably expect, the people to which those digital assets belong are none too happy about the situation. Let's go ahead and read through this because, guys, this is just strange. You know, I read the beginning of this in the intro, but we're going to go ahead and read it again. Cryptocurrency exchange QuadrigaCX probably stored a significant quantity of Ethereum in other cryptocurrency exchanges, according to new evidence. This claim was made in a report published by Crypto blah 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 blah, not important. More precisely, the author of the report reportedly believes that there is a very strong possibility that nearly 650,000 Ethereum belonging to QuadrigaCX were stored on Kraken, Bitfinex, and Poloniex cryptocurrency exchange during QuadrigaCX's operations. Guys, I think if there's one moral to take out of this entire story, not this specific story, but the entire QuadrigaCX saga here, it's don't leave your money on cryptocurrency exchanges. Only leave a little bit on the exchange for you to trade and keep the vast majority of it off exchange. And what do I mean by that? I mean that if you've made a trade, in between your trades, even if you're going to make a trade with that crypto in the same day, during the time that you're not making the trade, move it back to your cold storage wallet, move it back to your hardware wallet, move it back to your Exodus wallet, whatever. Just move it off the exchange. Never leave your money on an exchange. Never do it. I don't care if it's Binance, Coinbase, Bitfinex, Kraken, Polonia. I don't care what exchange it is. Don't leave your money on these cryptocurrency exchanges, guys. QuadrigaCX had almost $150 million worth of crypto. You would think they would be a trusted exchange, but for some reason, only one person on the entire planet had access to all of that money. God only knows how that happened. There are a lot of words I want to say to express my annoyance in this, and I'm not even one of the ones that had my money lost in this, but alas, I don't want to get demonetized. Anyway, guys, I think one of the the rest of this is just a bunch of the report stuff, so I'm going to commentate on this for a little bit, but I think that the reason that I'm so upset about this story right here is because this specific story, the one we're reading today, the reason I'm so upset about this specific story is because the entire QuadrigaCX saga is basically just a one big slap in the face to everyone in the cryptocurrency community, reminding us to keep our money off exchange. And what do we come to find out? We come to find out that QuadrigaCX was keeping its own cryptocurrency that belonged to its clients on other exchanges. Guys, what if QuadrigaCX... Let's put it this way. Let's say that the person, Gary Cotton, the founder, Gary Cotton here, let's say Gary Cotton didn't die. Let's say Gary Cotton was fine, and he had $40 million worth of Ethereum on Kraken, and Kraken decided to go and blow up. Let's just say Kraken ceased to exist. Well, good job, Gary Cotton, because you weren't the one storing $40 million worth of Ethereum, and Kraken was. Now you're out $40 million because you were making the same mistake that all your clients were making and leaving your money on another exchange. Why on earth would, one, you be the only person with any access to this cryptocurrency, and two, of the cryptocurrency that you did have access to, that other people did have access to, perhaps, we'll get to that in a second, why would you store your cryptocurrency exchange for your exchange on other exchanges? Guys, I mean, I don't run an exchange. I don't know. Maybe he had a good reason for this. Maybe there was a good reason for this. I don't understand what it could possibly be, though. Why would one exchange keep their cryptocurrency on another exchange and risk that exchange losing their funds and causing them to go bankrupt? It doesn't make any sense to me. With all of that annoyance said, this is actually a silver lining for anyone who may have lost money in the QuadrigaCX scandal here. Because, guys, one thing that's very interesting here is that if crypto was in fact being stored on Kraken, Bitfinex, and Poloniex, it's probably going to be a lot easier to get that crypto back from Kraken, Bitfinex, Poloniex, and other cryptocurrency exchanges than from Gary Cotton's actual cold storage hardware wallet on his laptop, where he had $190 million worth of funds or so. If they are, in fact, on other exchanges, it may be easier to get that money back. It may be easier for the people to which that crypto belongs. It may be possible to get that back to them, and that would be a very good thing. So if you guys were in the QuadrigaCX scandal, if you guys had money in QuadrigaCX, which if you were, I'm so very sorry about this. Definitely lesson learned for you and everyone else here. I can't express how annoyed you must be and how upset you must be and how angry you must be. If you're one of the people that had money on QuadrigaCX, let us know in the comment section down below. And please tell everyone to keep their money off of exchange. That's definitely the moral of this story. Leave your money in your own hardware wallet so that if anyone dies, it's you, and then you don't have to worry about losing the money because you're dead. You know, I think that's the moral of the story here, guys. Anyway, this article really just annoyed me very much. Why on earth would you... Okay, I've already made my point. You guys understand how annoyed I am at this. Anyway, guys, like I said earlier, tell me in the comment section down below what you think about today's technical analysis. Do you think Bitcoin is going to break bearish, bullish, or trade sideways? Do you think Bitcoin is going to go east? Perhaps you think Bitcoin is going to go west and start moving this way. I've never seen that happen in my long time here trading cryptocurrency, but perhaps it could happen. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that is basically going to wrap it up for today's video. Tell me what you think about the QuadrigaCX scandal in the comment section down below. I haven't been covering that story enough, partially because it's just the most annoying story that I've heard in a very long time in cryptocurrency. But anyway, guys, that is basically going to do it for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!